What's up, fart sniffers? Welcome to the weekly news. Great choice. Before we get started here, did I get anybody with the fake I don't have power ranking sob story? Haynes? Cam? I know I got somebody. You can lie to yourself, just don't lie to the rest of us. Who did I get? So today, excuse me, is September 8th, 8:02 p.m., 2025, the year of our Lord. So we're going to get into the matchups here. We're going to talk about some weekly news here and talk about who's going to take it. We still have a Monday night marquee matchup here. Really kind of just between Tinas and Jay. For the most part, I think everybody else's matchups are kind of set in stone at this point, but you never know. This Monday night could prove to be interesting. So let's start with Thursday Night Football, Week 1. Remember Spitgate? Dak Prescott, allegedly, no, he definitely did. We had it on camera on 4K. Spit on Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter, who spat back and then got ejected. Dak Prescott still only had like 7 points that game, so I don't think it's really like a huge thing. But you know, Thursday Night Cinema, Week 1, we love that, right? That was the night that Lightning suspended the game halfway through the third, and I don't know who else stayed up. I did, and I don't know why, because I don't really stay up for football that often. But they did bring the game back, starting at 11:30 p.m. I didn't watch the end, but I guess I think I know who did. Mark had a big night. He had Jake Elliott with a 50-yard field goal that night, on top of Hurts getting 24.28 points and Barkley getting 18.4. Bad Thursday night to be Joe, I can tell you that. So, I'd like to talk to the matchups, but I mean, we should get some like music going. I got my producer listening in. Hey, do you think you can cue up some music just like in the background to go? Well, it's Week 1, we gotta do it. We gotta do it right. Yeah. Okay. I'll do it to one song and one song only. Okay, let's do it. Alright, gets a little bit better. So let's talk about Cam versus Liam. Cam, what's going on with your bench there? You have Rice suspended for 6 games. You got Ty Spears on the IR and Brandon Ayuk. Am I saying that right? Ayuk? I got it. I wrote it down here, the pronunciation. Yeah, what's going on? Physically unable to play? I mean, I hate to say it, but I think Liam's going to be taking that matchup between you two. I mean, Liam, you have some heavy hitters this week. Puka had 23 points, but no TDs. That's just good stat line. Imagine if he did get a touchdown. I'm in another league, and I'm not too mad with that. He also took my guy, Marvin Harrison Jr., my former first-round pick from last year. He sucked fucking ass, but he puts up 18.1 points for you this week. Again, I wouldn't be too mad with that, with Devo getting 22.6. I also had him last year too. Okay, but I ended up in the toilet bowl, so let's not really relive that. Let's get into our next matchup, myself versus Gar. Worthy got hurt on the third snap and ended me with a goose egg, and I don't want to completely blame my loss on that, but I was down to 30% chance winning on Sunday around noon, went up to about a 70% chance. At the time of this recording, I think I'm back down to like a 20% chance. So, I'll take it on the chin. Mahomes had a rushing and a passing touchdown for me, and Bijan, running back, by the way, had 100 receiving yards and a touchdown. But my Bills defense got me -1 points on that one. Crazy. Garv, you had Garrett, like I said, the hardest worker on the field with 22.5 points and a touchdown with 95 yards. I know you're complaining about Brian Thomas. One for 7, and Garv looks at you like this shit gravy. But on top of that, let's get to the heavy hitter on your team, Garv. You had Lamar Jackson. 3 touchdowns? That's crazy. But what's 3 touchdowns to Josh Allen's 4? God mode, that's what it is. Getting into the next matchup, Ben versus Tom. Like I said, Josh Allen just refused to fucking lose that game. He did not want to lose. He had 38.76 points. But he also had the Ravens defense. Got him -7 points. Kind of really shot yourself in the foot there, Ben, but I think you're going to be taking that. Do I have you as winning? Oh, no, I still have this as a question mark. That matchup can go either way. Ben, if you lose this with a Josh Allen almost 40 bomb, I'm not going to let that one down. So, Tom, talking about Josh Allen's 4 touchdowns, you had 4 touchdowns to your entire team between Jordan Love and Puka. And I don't think you had really too good of a week there, man. Maybe hit the waiver wire, get some trades in. Got to do something. I know going against 38.76 isn't my idea of a walk in the park, but So for better weeks for you, Tom. Okay, Haynes and Tyler, our next matchup. Haynes, you had Zay Flower, 7 for 9, 1 touchdown. You gotta love the Boston boy. And both of your defenses actually scored higher than 10 players on your roster. Myself and Ben might want to hit you up. We both have negative scoring defenses, so help me out, will you? Let's get to you, Tyler. Your quarterback, Jared Goff, had 1 interception and -1 rushing yards. But don't worry, it gets better. The quarterback isn't great, but yet Javonte Williams scored 20.4 points and Michael Pittman 20 points. Unfortunately for you, they are both on your bench. Our last matchup, I talked about a little bit earlier, Tinos versus Jay. This one is a toss-up. It's a flip of a coin, could go one way or another. Tinos, you're done already. Jay, you still have, I think, 2 players, I don't remember who, but Caleb Williams controls your destiny right there. I know you sent him a message a little bit earlier today, and let's hope he reads it, because he's going to be the decision maker whether you win this or not. Tinos, A.J. Brown, ball so hard it hurts, you gotta find him. He had 1 target for 1.8 points on the week, which is the lowest he's ever had in his career. And your boy Derrick Henry, don't let him get in the end zone. He had 2 touchdowns, 29.2 points. And your Broncos defense, 18 points. Sucks seeing all these defense score positive points. Fuck! Jay, Caleb Williams, he's got to perform for you tonight. Monday night, the lights are on. I know you're going to be locked into that game tonight, even though you want to drop tonight. What you said earlier. You going to be really watching that game, or are you going to be getting dubs? I was looking at your bench, Jay. Combined for 20.7. That shit cray, ain't it, Jay? Well, that's all I have for week 1. Unfortunately, we're not going to have this lovely, lovely studio week 2. Don't know where we're going to end up being, but I'll see you guys for week 2. Signing out. Hey, look at that moon. Where am I? Holy shit, you see that pack-a-punch? I'm in fucking Doriz. It's crazy. Well, anyway, we're back. Week 2. For me, it's been a week. For you guys, probably about, 2 seconds? You didn't have to wait so long for that. So we're going to basically do the same thing. Give you some news of week 2, go over the matchups, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's start. So week 2, Chiefs are now 0-2 after a loss to the Eagles in a Super Bowl rematch. But 2 Super Bowls are not won in 2 weeks. I mean, it's totally okay to be 0-2. I mean, what's wrong with being 0-2? Being 0-2 is fine. It's great. Who's 0-2? Who's saying 0-2? Mahomes, I don't know why I said that. Mahomes led in rushing yards in both games, week 1 and week 2. Running backs kind of sucky. Bears are also bad. 0-2. 0-2. What's wrong with being 0-2? After the 52-21 loss to the Lions following the Vikings comeback that game. Crazy week 1. I'm sure you guys remember that. Remember that Amon-Ra fake hamstring celebration? Matt was worried. Joe Burrow is out for 3 months minimum with a toe surgery. It's been a tough week for Tina, so we'll get into that, Tina. Don't you worry. You sit right there. You see your ass right there. You see your little Portuguese Greek ass right there. We're going to get to that. And the Vikings had a drive this week, week 2, where they made it to the 2-yard line, and it was 1st and goal, and they ended up kicking a field goal because there was a fumble that they did recover, a false start that set them back, and then 2 sacks. Yikes. I mean, we've seen some bad play in the Turkey Bowl, but we've never seen that bad play in the Turkey Bowl. So let's get some music going for the matchups this week. There you go. I like that. Okay. So, let me get the beat here. We fly like eagles, get high like Josh Gordon. All right, just had to start that way. So let's do the first matchup. Me versus Cam. 0-2 is great. Okay. Brock Bowers sucks. Hollywood Brown does nothing. With no running backs, I guess I have no wide receivers either. Chiefs just fucking suck now. It's kind of crazy. Bills D is goated though. They had a huge comeback week for me. I had 15 points this week. I mean, I threw everything I had at Cam. I threw sticks and stones and weed and bombs at him, and nothing I could do to pull out a win. Cam, Archane TD was recalled, but why does it matter? Because he still had 26.2 points on me. And Neighbors with 2 touchdowns. If you catch him at the border, he's got visas in his name. He had 37.7 points this week. Fuck me, Cam. All right, moving on to Tom versus Tyler, the Battle of the T's. So Fields got concussed, finished with 3.98 points. Christian McCaffrey showed some life for you. He had a touchdown with 22.7 points. Not bad. He had a good week. And Keenan Allen, again, puts up a solid week. He had 17 points and did score a touchdown. However, he was on your bench. You're losing this matchup, Tom. Or not losing, you lost. Past tense. You lost this matchup. Tyler, Jared Goff is Jared God. He had 5 passing touchdowns, 33.96 points. No one has a swagger like him. Bucky Irving, 6 for 6 on receptions, 18.1 points. Again, not a bad showing. He didn't even have a touchdown. That's wild. Devontae Williams had a touchdown. He had 97 rushing yards, 33 receiving yards, and 25 points. That shit's crazy. Rome, he had 2 touchdowns, 31.8 points. That's crazy. Rome packs and delivers like UPS trucks. Devontae Adams had a touchdown, 22.6 points. You have 5 players this week to score over 20 points. And that is why you get to punish Tinos. Tinos, you are lucky you got that extension, by the way. There was no vote on that, so you better be doing that. But I digress. Moving on to matchup 3, we're going to go into Ames versus Rourke. Ames, you're coming out on top. I talked about Amon-Ra. He had 3 touchdowns, 39.2 points. Just, we have to have another 40-point game. Why can't be one of my players? Who knows? Nick Chubb, he had a touchdown. He had 15.2 points on the bench. Well done. Hunter Renfrow had... I can't read my handwriting. I'm sure you guys know who the fuck I'm talking about, so I sure don't. He had 2 touchdowns, 23.8 points. Also, on your bench. Doesn't matter. You're going to win. On your side, Saquon had 1 carrying touchdown. He kind of carried your team. You had 3 players combined for 5.8 points. You're already going to hell just pumping that gas. Next matchup, Tinos versus Liam. Tinos, you're losing this one too. Not losing again, past tense. Lost this one. Joe Burrow's out, 3 months minimum. Toe surgery, he hurt his toe. Derrick Henry had 11 carries, made it 23 yards. He was very tackleable this week. Tackleable? He could have been tackled very easily is what I'm trying to say. You did have James let him cook. He had 2 touchdowns, 26.5 points. And your Broncos defense, -5 points. Lovely, gotta love it. Liam, Puka, you had a touchdown, 27.6 points. Debo again showing out, another touchdown, 17.4 points. Your Cowboys defense, -5 points. It's great to not have a negative defense this week, but how many that feels. Okay, matchup number 5, we got Guard versus Jay. Jay, you best Guard, you're sitting pretty right now. You made it to the top of his power rankings that came out earlier today. Guard, you still have Lamar pass 4 passing touchdowns, 26.3 points. J.K. Dobbins went 1 for 2 on receptions, and one of those 2 receptions ended up being a touchdown. He got 15.5 points. Crazy. Nico Collins had a touchdown, 14.2 points. Tucker Kraft, boom for you. 1 touchdown, 24.4 points. Was not enough against Jay, but Jonathan Taylor with 1 touchdown still put up 29.5 points. Gibbs, 1 touchdown, 19.4 points. Jackson Smith, don't think I can legally say that part. Went 8 for 10 on receptions, putting up 18.3 points. And your rookie, Tyler Luke, he hits kicks, 12.5 points. You also had a very, very strong bench showing this week, Jay. Very impressive, very impressive. And for that, you can sit on top of the power rankings for this week. Last matchup we got Joe versus Ben. Bo Nix is back, Joe. He is back. He went 22 for 30 on passes. He had 200-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Your first pick, Jamar Chase, actually came back this week. He had a touchdown and 165 yards. Johnson had a touchdown for 15.9 points. Jalen Warren had 17.4 points. Ben, on your side, you have Brandon Aubrey. He's the new Tucker. He had 24.5 points. He had a great week, great showing. Aubrey has more records than the KGB, so no funny business. Josh Allen was mid for you this week. Ravens defense put up 16 points. Wan'Dale Robinson had 1 touchdown, put up 28.2 points, but alas, he was on your bench. At the end of the day, we're all winners, bonafide hustlers clocking that game. That's going to do it for week 2. We'll be back in week 3 shortly. Just stay tuned. So I said to close out week 2, welcome to week 3. This is actually week 3, so we're going to get into it here. We're going to get into the news and the matchups. Let's go. Let's kick it off. This is the week of blocked field goals. They had 4 blocked field goals within the NFL this week. It was a kind of a crazy week to watch. In another news, the Eagles were down by 19 and won against the Rams, and they had 3 specific drives in the second half. They had a 79-yard drive that ended in a touchdown, an 87-yard drive that ended in a touchdown, and a 17-play, 91-yard drive that ended in a touchdown. We'll get to Jalen Hurts in a little bit, but Bears also bounced back from their 52-point loss to the Lions in Week 2 to beat the Cowboys behind Caleb Williams, which included a 65-yard flea flicker. That's pretty interesting. We'll get to Jalen Williams. J-Dub, shout out my king. Caleb Williams in a little bit. And the Bengals were a team of fumbles as they let the Vikings run away with the game with only 171 total offensive yards. Absolutely bad week to be the Bengals. I mean, well, we get it. What's his name is hurt. Joe Burrow is hurt. His toe is hurt. Turf toe. Hopefully they can survive long enough to get him back later in this season to make a push in the playoffs. But I don't think they are Super Bowl competitors. Neither do I. So let's get into the matchups. Let's get some music going. I love it. Okay. So who should we go through first? Tyler, let's start with you. Jared Goff regressed. He only had 1 passing touchdown and only finished with 12.68 points. He had a great week 2, terrible week 3. Will he bounce back? We'll find out in week 4. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. I have him in another league. That sucks. Devontae Adams had a touchdown for you, finished with 14.6 points. Trey McBride had a touchdown and did with 15.3 points. And your Vikings defense, holy hell, 37 points. They had 4 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, in which they recovered 3, 2 picks, and they got 2 touchdowns. Tyler, the seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake, but not for you this week. You still lost, actually. That kind of sucks. Mark, Jalen Hurts, I know we talked to him a little bit earlier. He had 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. Courtland Sutton had 1 touchdown and finished with 23.8 points. And your Steelers defense did real well too, but they only had 19 points. Excuse me. They had 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, in which they recovered all of them, and they had an interception. It's a good week to be you. Matchup 2, myself versus Jay. I don't want to talk about myself too much because I'm going to be 0-3, but one more week I'm going to legally change my name to Elwin. Mark my words. Jordan Mason was my hero. He had 2 touchdowns, 116 rushing yards. Mahomes was poopy, but also had a touchdown. 3 touchdowns as a team in my lineup 3. Caleb Williams, 4 passing touchdowns by himself, 298 yards, and ended with 29.12 points. Gibbs had 2 touchdowns for you and finished with 26.9 points. Jonathan Taylor had 3 touchdowns and finished with 32.8 points. Jay, you had 4 players over 20 points and absolutely fucked me. Have no troubles, life is the bubbles, as they say, Jay, am I right? Such wonderful things surround you, what more is you looking for? You take the win in week 3. Now, let's see, who should we get into next? Oh, let's go into the Garvey Bowl. Liam versus Connor. Liam, you had David Montgomery with 2 touchdowns, 151 rushing yards, and 29.4 points. Impressive. Hugo went 11 for 15 on completions, 112 yards, and finished with 22.8 points. And that's with no touchdowns. Those are good numbers for no touchdowns. And TJ Hawkinson had 1 passing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown, and ended with 15.9 points, but it was not enough to take down your brother Connor. Lamar had 3 touchdowns himself and 27.02 points. Nico Collins had 1 touchdown, but he did fumble the ball. Doesn't matter for you because you won. Devonta Smith had a touchdown with 20 points, and J.K. Dobbins had 1 touchdown with 15.3 points, and you take this win. So matchup number 4, we got Tom versus Joe. Joe, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but Bo Nix regresses. Terrible week 3 to follow week 2. He had 89, and you as a team had 89.92 points, which is enough for you to get punished on your own bachelor party weekend. Tom, Christian McCaffrey, CMC had 24 points with no touchdowns, still respectable, good numbers with no touchdowns. Hampton had 24.9 points with a touchdown. Keenan Allen, again, another touchdown with 19.5 points. George Pickens had a touchdown with 17.8 points. Tom's players are up on shore, they work all day, out in the sun, they slave away. They are off the fucking hook. Mark my words. Matchup number 5. We got Cam versus Keenan. Cam, you lost this matchup. Baker was a little shaken Baker. Only 17.72 points. Archane was respectable again. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he had 16.1 points on 12 carries over 62 yards and caught 7 out of 9 passes for 29 yards. And Mark Andrews, solid tight end this week. 2 touchdowns for 27.1 points. Dinos, you finally got your first win of the season. It must be nice. I'm hoping to get that in week 4 against you. James Lennon-Cook had 1 touchdown and 108 rushing yards. A.J. Brown, boo for you. 1 touchdown for 109 points. And you got, like I said, you got your first win. As off through the waves they roll for you, Tinos. Into our final matchup, we got Haynes versus Ben. Ben, Jake Ferguson at 21.2 points, no touchdowns. Great numbers for no touchdowns. Ravens defense, sucked again, -7 for you. May as well not play defense. Rashid Bateman, 17.3 points, but he was on your bench and he was your 3rd highest scorer. But it didn't do much for you then, not at all. Haynes Slumdog got a touchdown, caught 7 out of 8 passes, finished with 20.7 points. Harrison Butker got 12 points and had a 50-plus yard field goal for you. Mike Evans got a touchdown for you, but he got hurt. It's going to be rough for you, Haynes, going forward without Mike Evans. But your team, they got the spirit. You have to hear it. Anyway, that's going to conclude week 4. Get ready for conclude week 3. I do this every week. That will conclude week 3. Get ready for week 4. I'm going to win. Fuck you, Tinos. I'm going to win week 4. Mark my words. Otherwise, I'll legally change my name to Ellen. See ya. Week 4. I'm in Mordor. Check it out. I bet Joe didn't see this scene in the extended editions that he was watching. Anyway, let's get into the news. Week 4. The Packers and the Cowboys, they tied. They scored 40 points each, and I don't know who won. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who won. I just have that they tied at 40. But that's pretty cool, right? They tied at 40. That's a lot of points. Who took the over that game? Anybody? Not me. Okay, let's talk about the Ravens. 2025 Ravens defense. This is one of Ben's favorite things to talk about, in case you guys didn't know. So if you want to talk to him about it, he is all ears. He is a chatty Gabby when it comes to that. The 2025 Ravens have allowed 133 points in the first 4 games. However, remember the 2000 season? I know you do, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The 2000 Ravens allowed 165 points in their entire 16-game season, which is pretty crazy to think of the fall off the Ravens have had, and only took 25 years, am I right? Ha 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 ha. Very funny. All right, so the Jags won, and in the first 4 games, they have forced 3+ turnovers. The Jags defense might actually be onto something. Maybe the Ravens can be taking notes here. And how can I forget about the Patriots? The Patriots had a huge 42-13 win over the Panthers, and Drake May had a 75% plus completion rate with 2 touchdowns or more in the past 3 games. Can anybody tell me what quarterback is the only higher streak of 75% completion rate with 2+ touchdowns? MVP 2007 Brady. In case you guys haven't heard of him, there was a player a couple years ago. He's retired now, but his name is Tom Brady. There's actually a statue of him. I got to see it. It's pretty cool. But they also went 16-0 that season. But, I'm pretty sure you guys all know that. And huge for this week, the Chiefs got Worthy back. And Mahomes had 0 picks and 4 touchdowns. It was a great week for me. So we'll get into the matchups here. First, let's get some music. There we go. Okay, we'll start with Tyler versus Ben. Tyler, you got Bucky back. He had 25.5 points for you with a touchdown. He did have a fumble, but it doesn't really matter because he still had 25+ points. Very, very nice. Javonte Williams had 19 points for you. He had 20 carries, over 85 yards, and a touchdown. Again, solid. Lee Marks, 27.9 points for you, a touchdown. What was on your bench? So what are you going to do about that? RJ Harvey had 19.8 points with a touchdown, and Addison had 16.4 points. Again, but one of those, RJ Harvey and Addison, both on your bench. But it doesn't matter. You came up with a huge win over Ben. Ben had James Conner out, and I don't think he knows because he played him. Justin Jefferson, pretty solid, 22.6 points, caught 10 of 11 passes, and had 126 yards. Jake Ferguson, 7 for 7 on completions for catches, and he had a touchdown. He had 17 points. The Ravens defense, we talked about it a little bit,
-4. Bench, drop them. You're better playing no defense with all these minuses out of these Ravens. Romeo Dubs, 2, hearing my handwriting. He caught 6 out of 8 passes and had 3 touchdowns for 29.8 points. That is huge, Ben. At least huge for your bench, I should say. Matchup done. Tyler takes it. Tom. Jordan Love had 26.28 points, 3 touchdowns, solid. CMC, 26.1 points, 1 touchdown. Marion Hampton, 27.5 points, caught 5 out of 5 passes, had a touchdown. Drake London, 25 points with a touchdown. Huge week for him. DK Metcalf, 23.6 points, caught 5 out of 5 passes with a touchdown. George Pickens went 8 for 11, had 2 touchdowns. And Tom, you got the win on this one. Tom, I've heard it all before. Brian, Courtland Sutton, 19.1 points, caught 5 out of 6 passes, had a touchdown. Tyreek is hurt. Ouch. Shakir had 5 out of 5 catches for the touchdown. The tight end had 19.5 points for the touchdown, 19 carries for 124 yards. Rashawn Judkins on your bench, 21.5 points. He caught all 4 passes coming his way and had a touchdown. However, Tom beat you this week, and Tom is pretty high up there. Tom's got to be looking pretty good right now. Next matchup, Haynes versus Joe. Haynes, Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns, 4 for 4. He had 22 carries, over 86 yards. Amon-Ra has been very consistent for you. Caught all 7 of his targets, 2 touchdowns, and landed 26 points for you. Dave Flowers caught 7 out of 8 targets and finished with 14.4 points. Joe, Bo Nix back? 25.74 points, 2 touchdowns. Although he did have a pick, solid outing for him. We are on a good Bo Nix week. Jamar had 7.3 points. I don't want to talk about that. Marvin Mims at 20.5 points, caught all 6 of his targets for a touchdown on your bench. However, Dakota Goddard, 4 for 4 and had 2 touchdowns. However, Haynes is taking this one. Joe, I know it sucks. Just can't go forward with something if it's just not right. Next matchup, Cam versus Garth. Cam, your running backs had an absolute elite week. The running backs were quite literally carrying your team. All of them combined for 33.2 points, with your receivers combining for 16.1 points. Your Lions defense, crazy, 21 points. They had 2 picks, a forced fumble that led to a touchdown, and 3 sacks. You may go find that your self-doubt means nothing was ever there, Cam. Taking this win. Next matchup, we'll go with myself versus Dinos. Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns for me. John had a touchdown, 28.1 points. Worthy at his back had finished with 17.1 points. DeAndre Swift had a touchdown and 16 points. I'll take that. I'm a loser and a user, so you know I don't need no excuse to try and slide me down, because I know you're right. However, I do get my first win in this matchup. Tina, it's great watching with you up in Rangeley, but I feel for you, I know. Tinos, James Cook had a touchdown for you at 22.5 points. Quincy Johnson had a touchdown for you at 23.8 points. Jake Bates, he had the iron leg. He did not miss. He had 3 field goals he hit. One was 40 plus yards. One was between 50 and 59, and one was 60 plus yards. Solid. Derrick Henry had 7.8 points. Oh, I heard you crying loud. And finally, our last matchup, Liam versus Jay. Liam, you took this one. Ashton Jeanty, your rookie. He had 1 fumble, but he had 2 touchdowns. And he had 33.5 points. That must have been a tough pill for Jay to swallow, seeing that. David Montgomery, 1.2 points. Puka, very consistent for you, has had a touchdown and 36 points. And your Eagles defense were fucking ballistic. They had 15 points, 2 sacks, forced fumble, 1 touchdown, and 1 block. Liam, you took this one over Jay, who's been a juggernaut all season. Jay, you look human. You're now 3-1. Your entire team underperformed. Kyle Pitts did go 5 for 5 and get a touchdown for 18 points, but what are you going to do? Anyway, that's closing out week 4. Stay tuned for week 5.
Week 5, time for me to land this plane. In the news, the Patriots defeated the undefeated Bills in Buffalo, meaning there are no undefeated teams in the NFL as of Week 5. However, the Jets are still yet to get their first win, so that's pretty funny. CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott, each had 4 passing touchdowns this week. A pretty big week to be those guys. And also the Dolphins blew a 17-point lead to the Panthers, which is pretty funny because the Dolphins got sucked. So let me cue up some music and get to the matchups. First and foremost, R.L. Stein versus Liam. On R.L. Stein, Mahomes had 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, 1 pick. I like to call that the triple single for 26.72 points. Zach Ertz, Goose, which is okay because Gilbert on Liam's side, Goose cancels out. Rashid Shaheed, 21.4 points and 1 touchdown. John had a bye, so I'm kind of blaming that. Again, a loss. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my team and realize there's nothing left. On Liam's side, Puka has been a consistent problem week in and week out. 24.5 points and a touchdown. Devo, same point. Got 8 of 11 targets, touchdown. 23.6 points. Montgomery, you must have heard he was getting badmouthed last week. He had a touchdown, and he threw for a touchdown too at 18.22 points. So better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, where you and your homies might be lying this chalk. Going up to matchup number 2, Tino's versus Guard. Tino's, Laporta got 5 of the 6 targets and got a touchdown. Your Colts defense, 16 points, 2 picks, 4 sacks, 1 block, 1 loss. Even your mama thinks that your mind is done. Guard, Prescott, 4 touchdowns, 28.28 points. Rashid White, 23.1, got all 4 targets, 2 touchdowns. Garrett, touchdown, 19.1 points, hard to work on the field. Devonta Smith, 19.4 points, got 8 out of 10 targets for 114 yards. And Diggs on your bench, got 10 out of 12 targets, 146 yards, 24.6 points on your bench. Moving on, matchup number 3, Jay versus Cam. Fields, 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, 25.92 points. JSN, 23 points, touchdown, 110 yards. Theo Johnson, 21.3 points. And your guy, Jonathan Taylor, 31.6 points with 3 touchdowns, and he had a 2-point conversion of his own. May you be treated like a punk? You know that's unheard of. Cam, you had Baker Mayfield, 26.66 points, 2 touchdowns with a 2-point conversion of his own. Paul, 17.5 points, got 4 out of his 5 targets and fumbled 1. Your Lions defense, 3 picks, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, a safety, 12 points, and 1 loss. Tough week for you, Cam. I know how it feels. Matchup number 4, Ben versus Rart. Ben, Justin Jefferson, 19.3 points, 7 out of 11 targets for 123 yards. Good weeks to be a tight end in your team. Kelsey had a touchdown, got 7 passes. Jake Ferguson had 2 touchdowns, 23.9 points, 7 catches. Ryan Barkley had 17.8 points, touchdown. Sutton, 8 out of 10 targets, 99 yards, 17.9 points. Your bench though, Calvin Williams, 31.1, 2 touchdowns. And Kareem Hunt, 18.7 points, 2 touchdowns. There's 4 touchdowns on your bench today, that's tough. Next matchup, Tyler versus Joe. Tyler, Javonte Williams, 26.9 points, 16 carries, 135 yards, a rushing and a receiving touchdown. The rest of your team is hurt or on byes. Joe, Justice Hill, 2.2 points. Jamar, 29 for 2 touchdowns. Your Texas defense, 12 points, 3 picks, 1 sack, 1 loss. Maybe you should try going on your knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light. Moving on to our last and final matchup, Tom versus Haynes. CJ Stroud, like I said, 4 passing touchdowns, 28.76 points. CMC, 27.9 points. Ibuka, 31.3 points, and a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and your kicker popped off. You know what they say, living life, do or die, what can you say? Haynes, come on raw, 18 points, caught 8 passes for 100 yards, 18.7 points. Nabucco, 1 touchdown, and you had nothing else.
It was me the entire time, guys. Let's then conclude the weekly news. So either watch the dance video, watch the power rankings, or whatever. If you've seen both of those, you're done. I hope you enjoyed.